I'm a member of Act for America, and I am against Sharia law in the United States.
This is an emergency broadcast alert giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekakadash, in whom we are in great debt. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, continue doing so, standing firm in the eyes of terror, who I learned this truth from. To the elders, the bishops, Akim and Akwab, salutations and blessings to the house of David. We are the hopeful elect. This is your brother Quasiyar with another quick one. And as wars and rumors of wars are building up around the world, there's a homegrown war that is being ignited as we speak. And no one is really talking about it. And this is actually happening in several places in different types of scenarios. But I'm going to give you one scenario that I found very interesting.
The Quran says to return evil with love.
And we at Great Millstone know better. This is going to lead to something else.
Tell us what your pedophile prophet would do to him, what your demon Allah would do to him.
Lately we have seen some demonstrations against us. That is not going to stop us at all. We are Americans. We are Americans, tax-paying, law-abiding citizens. Woo!
I'm showing every bit of strength I can to make sure that nobody gets hurt, everything is peaceful, and everybody gets heard.
And that's how it starts. Everything is nice and peaceful until it's not.
Developing tonight, controversy in a Texas town that is now home to the nation's first Islamic Sharia tribunal court. Trace Gallagher has the report.
Megan, it's billed as an Islamic tribunal that practices Sharia law, except there are no lawyers. Instead, it's run by 3 imams and a doctor of Islamic studies who serve as arbitrators, primarily for Muslim divorce cases. The men who run the business say it's very similar to tribunals in the Catholic Church dealing with annulments or rabbinical courts used by Orthodox Jews.
We really need Islamic tribunal here. This is just for divorce cases because Muslim women cannot divorce just by final decree in the civil court.
He goes on to stress the Islamic tribunals are voluntary and divorce paperwork is only filed with state courts if both spouses agree. But critics worry about the extreme parts of Sharia law, like men being able to divorce for no reason, yet women must have a reason, and men being allowed to take several wives while women can only marry one man. The mayor of Irving, Texas says you can't just create your own laws.
Religious freedom is protected under our First Amendment, and we are not in any way, shape, or form trying to prevent that.
And we all know where there's smoke, there will be fire. All right, so America doesn't understand the wild man. Okay? I know you heard the woman that said that they are Americans, but they're Muslim first, and that they wasn't going to stop, and they're not going to stop.
To investigate Muslim-led development targeted by Texas GOP senator says. Brandon, if you have this story to pull up.
Yes.
So, little weird. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. I'm assuming you guys have seen this video.
I have not seen it.
Senator John Cornyn, who called the Muslim-led Epic City development anti-Semitic and anti-Christian, announced that the Justice Department will investigate whether the project around one of North Texas' largest mosques violates federal law, stating, "I am grateful to Attorney General Bondi and the Department of Justice for hearing my concerns and opening an investigation while claiming religious discrimination and Sharia law have no place in Lone Star State, the East Plano Islamic Center. Wow, this isn't Plano, Tom.
That's, yeah.
Backing Epic City faced accusations from Corn, Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton, Governor Greg Abbott, and the right-wing bloggers of creating a Muslim-only community imposing Islamic law, which Attorney Dan Kajal, defending the project, denied, saying from day one their intention was to comply completely and wholeheartedly with the law. What is crazy to me is how far we have come. We haven't come since 9/11. Go.
So I'll play one more clip before I read you a scripture. This happened 11 hours ago.
In Texas, because Governor Greg Abbott made news this morning by declaring two groups as foreign terrorist organizations. Let's go to our breaking news correspondent, Chanel Call, who's been following this story for us from the newsroom in New York. Chanel, what did the governor have to say today?
Well, he made this announcement, Mugo, this morning through this proclamation, essentially now designating two groups, the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, as foreign terrorist groups and transnational criminal organizations. So this announcement came to us in the form of this proclamation. So I'll just show you a bit of it on my computer here. If I scroll down, you can see it's a couple of pages long. And in this proclamation, Mugo, the governor is explaining which groups we're talking about here and why he chose them, also what the impact will be of this proclamation. So I spoke to Edward Ahmed Mitchell, who is the Deputy Director of CARE, about this today to get his perspective on this proclamation and his reaction to this announcement this morning. Take a listen to part of that conversation. So, Edward, want to read you part of this proclamation, which I'm sure you've already read before. But part of it says internal documents plainly identified CARE as a subsidiary of the Muslim Brotherhood, and a federal court eventually found, quote, ample evidence to establish that CARE was associated with Hamas. What's your response to that?
Completely false. In fact, Mr. Abbott knows that another court later ruled that those claims were completely improper, should have never been made in the first place, and were made against dozens of American Muslim organizations when the Bush administration was going to great excesses in the years after 9/11. So what he's done is cherry-picked information, bottled them up into conspiracy theories, and then regurgitated them for this publicity stunt. CARE is an independent organization. We're not an agent, offshoot, partner of any foreign organization, period.
Sees CARE as an organization. He said CARE is an independent civil rights organization representing the American people. Let's give you a bit of background as well, Mugo, about these organizations that we're talking about, including the Muslim Brotherhood. It may sound familiar to you. This is a group that was founded in Egypt. It really rose to power, rose to influence after the Arab Spring. But important to note that it also became something that Americans grew to see as a threat. In Egypt, the ideology within the Muslim Brotherhood also spread to some other groups that you'll now know, Hamas and Hezbollah as well. But important to mention here that there has really been no material tie from the Muslim Brotherhood to CARE. Also, CARE, which is an American-based group, has never actually been charged with crimes like aiding and abetting a terrorist organization. And finally, I want to mention as well, Mugo, that when it comes to labeling groups with this label of a terrorist group or organization, it's really up to the U.S. State Department to do that. What the governor did today was a state proclamation. And so I want to show you what we found on my screen here. This is a social media post from Greg Abbott after he had made that proclamation. And what he's saying is that this will have an impact in the state of Texas. And the impact he says it will have is that it will allow some heightened enforcement against these two groups. As well, he says, you'll see here, this bans them from buying or acquiring land in Texas, and also authorizes the Attorney General to sue to shut them down. So I also asked that gentleman we spoke to from CARE about this potential impact. He seemed to be unfazed about it. He also told me that he believes this actually doesn't have any basis in law. And he said if they do feel that this proclamation today in any way infringes on their rights, they plan to take the government to court. Back to you.
All right.
So the governor did sign a law. Governor Abbott signs law banning Sharia compound in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott today ceremonially signs House Bill 4211 into law to ban residential property development like Epic City from creating Sharia compound and defrauding and discriminating against Texans. This is Matthew 12, verse 25 in the NIV. Knowing their thoughts, Yahushua said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. This is Mark 3, verse 25. If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Luke 11 and 17. Knowing their thoughts, Yahushua said to them, every kingdom divided against itself will be laid waste, and a house divided against itself, against a house will fall. I'll read that again. Luke 11 and 17. Knowing their thoughts, Yahushua said to them, every kingdom divided against itself will be laid waste, and a house divided against a house will fall. Can this be bringing in a prophecy? This is 2 Ezra 15 and 29, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Shalom.